Welcome, spicy ladies. The reward for being true to yourself is that you never have to apologize for who you are. There's something rare about a woman who doesn't move like the rest. Not because she's trying to be different, but because she just can't pretend to care about things that never felt real to her. While the world keeps spinning around approval, noise, and appearance, she's focused on something else: depth, purpose, and peace of mind. That's the quiet force of a Sigma female. She doesn't follow maps made by others. And it's not rebellion, it's wisdom. She's learned early on that giving too much energy to what everyone else thinks is a quick way to lose yourself. So she doesn't. And because of that, she sees through things most people don't even question. The trends, the expectations, the desperate need to be seen. She notices it all, but it doesn't move her. Not because she's cold, but because she's already done the inner work. Her peace didn't come cheap, and she's not trading it for surface-level approval. If this sounds like you, know that your ability to think for yourself is rare. And the fact that you're not easily impressed doesn't mean something is missing. It means something is present, self-awareness. You're not difficult. You're just not distracted. And while that might confuse the world, stay grounded. You were never meant to blend in. You were built to see beyond the noise. That's your strength. That's your power. That's what makes you Sigma. Let's get started. Spicy ladies, let's dive into some key traits that define the Sigma female. Number 1, fixing people to feel needed. Most people don't realize that constantly trying to fix others can quietly become a form of self-abandonment. They make it their mission to heal broken people, thinking love means sacrifice. They wear themselves out trying to be someone's emotional crutch, someone's light in the dark, someone's anchor in chaos. But deep down, they're not doing it just out of kindness. They're doing it to feel needed, to feel important, and that's where it becomes dangerous. The Sigma female sees this cycle for what it is. She doesn't need to be the hero in someone else's story to feel whole. She understands something most people never learn: that pouring yourself into people who refuse to take responsibility for their own healing is like watering dead soil. It's not compassion. It's self-neglect disguised as love. She doesn't carry other people's emotional baggage just to feel useful. She doesn't stay in relationships out of pity or guilt. If someone is drowning and pulling her under with them, she won't sink to keep them company. She knows when to reach out and when to let go. This doesn't mean she's heartless. It means she's wise enough to know that love without boundaries turns into a slow kind of self-destruction. The Sigma female protects her peace like it's oxygen. She gives, but not endlessly. She supports, but not at the cost of herself. She'll walk with you, but only if you're walking, too. She doesn't play savior because she's done saving people who keep choosing the fire. Right now, if you are still watching, I hope this video can help you. Your comments motivate me so much, so I can make more videos which you like. So hit that subscribe button and leave me a message. Let's continue. Number 2, keeping fake friendships alive. Most people hold on to friendships long after they've stopped growing. They stay in touch out of habit, guilt, or fear of being alone. They tolerate half-hearted conversations, forced laughs, and surface-level check-ins because it's easier than admitting the connection is dead. But the Sigma female doesn't live in denial. She can feel when something has run its course, and she doesn't pretend it hasn't. She doesn't keep people around just because they share history. She's not sentimental about relationships that no longer hold substance. If the energy feels forced, if the connection feels shallow, if the loyalty is one-sided, she lets it go. No long speeches, no drama, just distance, clarity, and peace. This isn't about being cold or heartless. It's about being honest. The Sigma female understands that outgrowing people is part of growth. She knows not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. Some people are lessons, not lifelines. And she's not afraid to make space by walking away from those who no longer belong. She doesn't chase friendships that only exist out of routine. She doesn't fake excitement for people she doesn't trust, and she doesn't entertain relationships that drain more than they give. When it's done, it's done. What others call cutting people off, she calls protecting her energy. And she never looks back. Not because she's bitter, but because she values authenticity more than appearances. The Sigma female doesn't keep dead weight around. She makes room for real. Always. Number 3, being the nice girl. The world loves the idea of a woman who's always agreeable. The one who smiles even when she's uncomfortable, stays quiet to keep the peace, and swallows her opinions to avoid making others uneasy. That's the image of the nice girl. Polite, pleasant, predictable. But the Sigma female doesn't play that role. She's not rude, but she's not pretending either. She won't fake a laugh to make you feel better. She won't say what you want to hear just to smooth things over. And she definitely won't twist herself into something smaller just to be more digestible. Her honesty is direct, sometimes sharp, but never cruel. It's not about proving a point. It's about living in truth, even if that truth shakes the room a little. She's not interested in being liked if it means losing her voice. While others stay silent to avoid being labeled difficult, she speaks with clarity, not to dominate, but to stay aligned with herself. The truth isn't always soft, but for her, it's necessary. Being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. And the Sigma female has no tolerance for sugar-coated lies or emotional handholding just to keep the peace. She respects people enough to tell them the truth. And she respects herself enough not to apologize for it. She's not trying to be liked by everyone because she knows that trying to please everyone is the fastest way to betray yourself. She's not the nice girl. She's the real one. And that's exactly why people remember her. Number 4, avoiding solitude like it's a disease. Most people treat solitude like it's something to be cured. They fill their days with noise, their nights with distractions, and their minds with anything that keeps them from sitting still. Because silence is dangerous when you're afraid of what it might reveal. But the Sigma female doesn't run from it. She walks straight into it unapologetically. She doesn't see being alone as lonely. To her, it's sacred. It's where masks fall off and truth rises. It's where the world's chaos fades and her inner voice sharpens. While others chase company to avoid their thoughts, she chooses quiet to confront hers. She doesn't fear the parts of herself that others bury. She studies them, challenges them, breaks them apart, and builds something stronger. That kind of growth doesn't happen in a crowd. It happens in silence, in the absence of noise, in the raw, unfiltered stillness that most people avoid. Her solitude isn't a retreat. It's a forge. It's where she recalibrates, where she resets her standards, where she draws lines, makes peace, and prepares for whatever comes next. So when people say she's distant, it's not because she's cold. It's because she knows the value of disappearing from the world to return stronger, wiser, and even more clear on who she is. She doesn't need a full room to feel full inside. Her presence is enough for herself, and that's rare. While others panic at the thought of being alone, the Sigma female thrives in it because the quiet doesn't scare her. It sharpens her. Number 5, following the timeline. Most people live their lives like they're following a script someone else wrote for them. Graduate at this age, get married by that age, have kids, buy a house, retire, and call it a good life. It's like an invisible checklist hanging over everyone's head. And if you fall behind, society acts like you're broken or lost. But the Sigma female doesn't buy into that pressure. She doesn't treat life like a race with scheduled checkpoints. She trusts her own timing, even if it looks nothing like everyone else's. She doesn't panic when others start settling down. She doesn't rush into life decisions just to keep up. While others treat milestones like trophies, she's more interested in alignment. She asks herself, does this feel right? Is this what I want or what I've been told I should want? And if the answer isn't clear, she waits, not out of fear, but out of respect for her own path. She knows that forcing yourself into something just to look successful on the outside will always leave you feeling empty on the inside. And she refuses to live a life that looks good in pictures, but feels wrong in real life. That's why she moves at her own pace. No panic, no pressure, just purpose. Some might think she's behind, but she knows she's not late. She's just not interested in chasing deadlines that don't belong to her. Her version of success isn't based on age or status. It's based on peace, freedom, and real joy. Even if it arrives on a timeline no one else understands, she's not afraid to take the longer road, if that's what leads to something real. Because for her, life isn't a checklist. It's a journey, and it's not about arriving on time. It's about arriving whole. Number 6, the applause of shallow success. In a world that worships titles, followers, and salaries, it's easy to get caught up chasing things that look good on paper but feel hollow in real life. Most people are so hungry for applause that they build entire identities around external wins. A job title becomes their worth. A car becomes their personality. A bank balance becomes their self-esteem. But the Sigma female doesn't play that game. She sees straight through the shine. You could be wearing designer clothes from head to toe, holding a powerful position and driving the latest luxury car, and she'll still ask, "But who are you when no one's watching? What do you stand for when the room is empty?" If your soul is empty, no amount of success will impress her. She's not the kind of woman who claps for someone just because they're loud. She looks beyond the performance, beyond the status updates and humble brags. She listens for authenticity, not approval. And if it's missing, she quietly disconnects. No need to argue. No need to explain. What really grabs her attention isn't your resume. It's your self-awareness. It's how you treat people when there's nothing to gain. It's whether you've done the inner work or just built a shiny life to hide behind. She has no interest in joining the race for shallow success. That world is too loud, too fake, too exhausting. She would rather build quietly, live meaningfully, and define success on her own terms, not society's. Because she knows this, external success without internal peace is just noise. And she's not here for noise. She's here for depth, for truth, for something real. Number 7. Hyperfemininity or feminism extremes. The Sigma female doesn't swing to extremes just to belong. She doesn't water herself down to appear more delicate, nor does she harden herself to prove a point. In a world that often pressures women to either overperform femininity or fight masculinity at every turn, she chooses a quieter, more honest path, her own. She's not dressing a certain way to be more desirable. She's not performing softness to be liked or muting her voice to seem agreeable. But at the same time, she's not shouting to be heard or rejecting every masculine trait to appear powerful. She doesn't need to. Her strength is quiet but undeniable. It's not built on defiance or decoration. It's built on self-knowledge. She doesn't see femininity as something to put on and take off depending on the room she's in. It's not a tool or a strategy. It's just part of who she is. Natural, effortless, not something she uses for attention or defense. And when it comes to men, she doesn't see them as threats to compete with or saviors to impress. She doesn't need to diminish anyone to stand tall. Her sense of empowerment doesn't come from proving others wrong or performing roles. It comes from knowing herself deeply and choosing not to betray that truth for anyone's approval, movement, or ideology. She doesn't need a stage. She doesn't need a banner. She doesn't need to scream to be powerful. Her presence speaks for itself. Her peace is her protest, and her balance is her quiet rebellion against a world that demands extremes. She simply is. And in that, there's a kind of freedom that must never be touched. Number 8, being constantly accessible. In today's world, there's this unspoken rule that if you care, you must always be available. Answer every text immediately. Reply to every call. Be ready on demand to drop everything for anyone. But the Sigma female doesn't follow that rule. Not because she's careless, but because she values something most people overlook: her own space. She understands that constantly being accessible doesn't equal love. It equals burnout. And more often than not, people mistake her boundaries for distance. But they're not. They're protection. Not from others, but for her own peace. She doesn't disappear to punish or ignore. She simply knows the difference between being present and being consumed. There's a quiet confidence in choosing when and how she connects. She gives from overflow, not from obligation. If she's there, she's fully there. If she's not, it's because she's recharging or realigning, not avoiding. People who are used to instant replies and constant attention often take her silence personally. But what they don't realize is that her absence is rarely about them. It's about staying rooted in a world that demands constant output. The Sigma female treats her time and energy with intention. She doesn't pick up every call just because the phone rings. She doesn't reply to every message just because it's blinking. She chooses presence over performance, connection over convenience. She's not cold. She's not dismissive. She's just someone who understands that real love, real friendship, real loyalty, they don't require 24/7 access. They require respect. And she gives that, but she also expects it in return. Her space is sacred. Her time is a gift. And if she lets you in even for a moment, know this. It's not because she's obligated. It's because she truly wants to. And that means more than any constant notification ever could. Number 9, hypersensitivity to opinions. Most people live on edge, quietly rearranging themselves to fit into whatever version of acceptable the world approves of that day. One harsh comment ruins their mood. One judgmental look makes them question everything. They overthink, over-apologize, and over-edit themselves, all to keep others comfortable. But the Sigma female doesn't play that exhausting game. She doesn't walk around collecting opinions like their currency. She's not chasing approval. She's not asking for permission to be who she is. Why? Because she's already done the deep, gritty work of accepting herself. And that's a kind of freedom that's immune to outside noise. People may misunderstand her. They may talk. They may label her as cold, aloof, too much, or not enough. And still, she won't flinch. Not because she's arrogant, but because she knows something most don't. Opinions are just reflections of where someone else is in their own life. They're not truth. They're not gospel. They're not her responsibility. She's not reckless with her choices. But she doesn't need everyone to agree with them either. She trusts her gut. She listens to her intuition. And when she makes a move, it's not for applause. It's for alignment. While others panic at the thought of being misunderstood, she understands it's part of the deal when you live honestly. Not everyone will get it. Not everyone is meant to. And she's okay with that. Actually, she prefers it because here's the truth. When you live by your own voice, you naturally stop fearing other people's noise. And the Sigma female, she's already tuned most of it out. Number 10, toxic positivity. In a world that's obsessed with good vibes only, the Sigma female doesn't fake a smile just to make others comfortable. She doesn't pretend everything's fine when it's clearly falling apart. And she sure as hell doesn't slap on a quote about gratitude when her soul is tired. She sees the trap of toxic positivity for what it is, a way to avoid real emotions by masking them with hollow optimism. She's not afraid of the storm. She walks straight into it. While others force themselves to be cheerful, stuffing their pain behind upbeat slogans, she lets herself feel it all, unfiltered, unedited, honest. She knows healing doesn't come from pretending the darkness isn't there. It comes from looking it in the eye and saying, I see you. I'm not afraid of you. I'm still here. The Sigma female doesn't believe that strength means being cheerful all the time. To her, real strength is being able to sit in discomfort without needing to numb it, fake it, or broadcast it for sympathy. It's knowing that life isn't always light and fluffy. And that's not a problem. It's just reality. She's not here to make every moment positive. She's here to make every moment real. If she's hurting, she won't sugarcoat it. If something feels wrong, she won't dress it up with a smile. Her power doesn't come from pretending. It comes from her raw honesty, her ability to face the parts of life most people run from. And that's the difference. While others escape, she endures. While others bury, she builds. Her truth might be heavy, but it never breaks her. It shapes her. And that's where her true fire lives. Not in the fake light, but in her fearless walk through the dark. Number 11, keeping up with trends. For most people, trends are lifelines. They shape how they dress, talk, and even think. They scroll, mimic, repost, and react, terrified of being left behind or seen as out of touch. But the Sigma female is wired differently. She doesn't chase trends. She studies them, not to fit in, but to understand the direction the crowd is headed, so she can make sure she's not going there. You won't catch her scrambling to wear what's in season, or to use the latest slang like it's a personality. She doesn't adopt surface level shifts just to look like she gets it. Instead, she watches from a distance, like a scientist behind glass. She notices how fast people trade authenticity for relevance. She sees how hungry the world is for constant novelty and how hollow it becomes once the excitement fades. The Sigma female doesn't resist trends out of rebellion. She simply knows herself too well to let the culture drag her in every direction. She'll admire creativity, appreciate innovation, even enjoy something if it feels right. But she never loses herself in the noise. She doesn't need to be the first to try something, and she definitely doesn't need to be the loudest voice in the room about it. Her identity is not built on what's trending. It's built on substance, on her values, on her instincts. While others rush to keep up, she moves with intention. That's why she always seems ahead. Not because she's chasing, but because she never stops thinking for herself. And in a world where everyone's trying to keep up, there's something magnetic about the one woman who refuses to run with the crowd because she already knows exactly where she's going. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson said it best. The Sigma female is not a product of trends, timelines, or public approval. She moves on her own terms, answers to her own rhythm, and lives by a code most people cannot see. Because most people are too busy trying to belong. But she doesn't need a map when she is her own compass. While others care about being liked, she cares about being real. While they stay in broken friendships out of guilt, she walks away with peace. While the world applauds fake positivity, she chooses truth over performance. She has learned the hard way that peace is not found in popularity or in playing the nice girl or in proving anything to anyone. It is found in knowing exactly who you are and being unwilling to trade that for anything. If you're wired like this, if you've ever felt out of place in places where everyone else seems comfortable, there's a reason. You're not missing something. You're just not made for the surface level life. You are built for depth, for clarity, for solitude, for power that doesn't need to be loud. Being a Sigma female is not a trend or a title. It is a quiet strength that doesn't beg to be seen, but never goes unnoticed. So don't shrink, don't soften, don't apologize. The world may not understand your way, but that's because it was never designed for the ordinary, and neither were you. Stay true to yourself. To all the spicy ladies make life beautiful, thank you for watching, and God bless.